These are some of my breeder bins, and we're going to take a look. Okay, I started this on July 15th, so it's been about 21 days, and that's usually how long I like to let my bins run. It can be more or less, but like sometimes it can be 18 days, sometimes it can be 23, but for the most part, I try to do 21 if I can. So we're going to peel this back and just kind of check in here and see what's going on. Okay, as you can see, I fed some worm chow about 3 or 4 days ago, and they finished that off on the top. And we're going to flip this up, and you can see a lot of these breeder worms in here. I'm seeing a lot of cocoons already. Might be kind of hard to see on the camera. Zoom in. See, here's some cocoons. It's exciting. Cocoons. So you can also see other kind of stuck. They get stuck to the adults' bodies. So this is looking good. This is looking really good. You can see all these worms. I like to see that they're happy, active, and healthy. These red wigglers are tiny, but they sure do eat a lot, and they reproduce very quickly. But yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Just flipping this up over a little bit, start seeing a lot of cocoons everywhere. A lot of this has turned into worm castings because I use a lot of pre-compost in this bedding. And over 21 days, they'll turn, you know, I'm trying to help them, you know, create an environment for them to reproduce. But a lot of times they'll also turn this into worm castings along the way. So a grow out bin, like a big grow out bin, for example, this tote, you know, their main goal is to make worm castings, or even in some of these mortar bins. You know, their main goal is worm castings, not necessarily maximizing cocoon production. But in a breeder bin like this, you're wanting to create a light, fluffy bedding, keep it extra moist, run it for 21 days, and you're creating the environment that helps them produce cocoons more than they would in a grow out bin. So I'm going to be harvesting this. I'm going to be taking the worms out and resetting it. I'm going to set up a whole brand new bedding, move these worms to the new bedding, and then start a new 21-day cycle all over again. Really good. Let's go and flip this up. Check out all these breeder worms all clustered up in this corner. Like I said, sometimes it's easy to miss cocoons because you know, they get kind of not stuck. They're not like stuck like glue, but you know, when I'm moving them over, sometimes they're just on the body. But yeah, these are looking nice and chunky. That's exactly what you're looking for when you're doing a breeder bin. These are red wigglers, so they're kind of small, but you see this clitellum, that's what that's called. You know, I've gotten used to not laughing when I say that word, but you know, sometimes I'm thinking about it, it's kind of funny. But that's what an adult worm looks like, or a breeder worm. There's no difference between breeder worms or adult worms. It basically means they can make cocoons. And this is what you're looking for when you're hand picking worms, which I do hand pick these because I'm looking for these big chunky ones. If they're not that chunky yet, that's okay. They can still make cocoons, but their cocoons will be a lot smaller. So you see how some of these cocoons, they're the size of the girth of the worm. So the bigger the worm, oh, that's actually 2 worms breeding right there. See how they're entangled at their clitellums? They're hermaphrodites, and both of them, they exchange DNA. They both leave pregnant, and yeah, so that's what you're looking for. Try to pick out this plastic when I see it. Sometimes that gets through the shredder. Okay, let's look for an example of a skinnier breeder worm. You know, I do hand pick these, so most of them are chunky. And then if they've gone through a few cycles as well, extra moisture and worm chow will fatten them up. And that's what I feed these worms exclusively. There's another chunk of worms. Okay, so I mean, this is definitely a smaller worm right here, but you can still see it's an adult. Here's the clitellum. But compared to, I mean, maybe it's hard to compare, but you can see how this one's just a lot bigger, a lot fatter. I've had skinnier breeder worms before, and over a few cycles, they'll start fattening up and making bigger cocoons. And small cocoons are still just fine. You just can't see them as good. You know, these ones in here are obvious to see, but there are a lot that are like a grape seed. And you can't see them really, but they're in there. And out of nowhere, you know, you'll get an explosion of little tiny baby worms. And it's a good thing, but yeah, you can't see them very well. I'm probably going to do a different video when I do reset this, but I just wanted to take a peek into here. This is after 21 days. Like I said, you're seeing tons of cocoons everywhere. It's a good sign. Sometimes the cocoons are, you know, this one's more yellow. Sometimes the cocoons are more orange. The orange ones, I'm not really seeing any orange ones right now, but the orange ones are closer to hatching. The yellow ones are more recently laid. Here's another example of kind of a smaller breeder worm. This one too. See, they'll still make cocoons, but they're just smaller. My goal is to have them big and chunky. So I'm really excited. I did just finish my breeder bin book, and it's my exact process on how I personally run these bins. Everyone does it slightly different, and it took me a long time to find something that worked well for me and something that I loved, something that's repeatable. Every 21 days, I see very similar results. I don't count cocoons very often anymore, but I have counted them for data, and I've gotten very consistent numbers with this system. And so that's what I've been doing. I run them in these little Trofast bins from IKEA, and it's worked really well for me. They're smaller. This is a little bit bigger than the size of a shoebox. So if you look this way, you know, as far as surface area, a shoebox is probably about right here. This is a little bit wider, but the bin itself is, so it's pretty small. I like to run small breeder bins. And so I will link that in the description if you're interested. You know, some people say breeding worms is pretty easy. It can be pretty easy, but for me, it took me forever to figure out how to get a perfect bedding that I liked and that was working for me and that was producing consistent cocoons. Especially because once I take these breeder worms out, I sell this bedding. So it's full of castings, full of cocoons. I just call it active cocoon bedding. That's what I call it for now, because you know, it has a bunch of worm castings, and if you add, say I sell it by the cup, like a cup or 2 cups, I do 4 cups and 8 cups. So this is about 8 cups for a whole nursery. And if you want to get started with cocoons and not worms, because each of these cocoons can hatch out between 2 and 7 baby worms. I've heard different numbers, but you know, it's kind of a fun way to start. So if you have, you know, 500 cocoons, 1,000 cocoons, it could potentially be an explosion of a ton of baby worms, and your population would grow. It would grow a bunch, but over time, and it's a slower start, but a lot of people like to go this route. And so when I sell it like this, like a cup of cocoons in their bedding, I don't know how many cocoons are in there exactly, but it's a lot, you can see. And with all these castings, if you add this to some plain shredded cardboard, it'll inoculate that and become a perfect nursery. That's what I usually do, is I either sell it or I'll take these worms out and then I'll leave this to become a cocoon nursery. And after 4 to 6 weeks or so, sometimes 8 weeks, a bunch of these baby worms will have hatched. I'm actually going to pull up a nursery that's been sitting for about 6 weeks. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. So yeah, exact same bin. And I left the cocoons in here to hatch. This is what it looks like. First of all, you can see how most of this is very fine castings. You know, these worms still make castings, just can't lay cocoons, but you can see, if you look closely, a bunch of baby worms. Let me bring it closer so you see how there's worms right here. They're tiny. There's an adult that I missed. Sometimes I miss adults, and that's fine. I actually heard that, you know, having a few adults in there or juveniles helps encourage hatching. And so look, there's even still a few cocoons that haven't hatched. You know, they're going to hatch on their own time, but on average, they'll start hatching around 3 or 4 weeks. Sometimes it takes 6 weeks, sometimes 8 weeks or longer. So that one just still hasn't hatched, and that's okay, but a lot of them are hatching. And so if you start a cocoon nursery, this is what it could look like. Might be kind of hard to see, but just a bunch of baby worms crawling all throughout here. So this is about the time, you know, when you have a cocoon nursery, I don't even feed it. You know, they're finishing off this bedding in here. So after this cycle, yeah, a lot of it is castings, but there's still pieces of cardboard. There's still some cocoa core that has not been processed. So when they hatch, they have plenty of stuff to start working on and start eating immediately. So I'm not even feeding worm chow or anything. Once it gets to about this point, then yeah, I'm going to start feeding some worm chow. At this point, I can figure out what I want to do with this. I usually add these to bigger grow out bins, depending on the population in those bins. And then they'll just start growing up and eating food scraps just like the other worms. This is an idea of what it could look like if you start a cocoon nursery. I'm not shipping a bunch of worms at the moment because it's hot, but normally I do have this for sale on my website. But if you did this yourself and started, you know, your own breeder bins, and then you had cocoons, you could set it aside and let it be a cocoon nursery. This is a fantastic way to grow your population intentionally. And so again, I'll have my book linked I'll have it linked in the description. It's my exact process, my thought process, honestly, on how I settled on something, and it took me months to feel like I mastered it. And so it's worked really well for me, and I was able to organize all my thoughts and put it on paper. So yeah, that's just wanted to give you a peek into one of my breeder bins after 21 days, and then what it would look like after about 6 weeks. So still, you know, there's probably still plenty in here that have not hatched, and that's okay. But pretty exciting. Tons of worm castings and tons of baby worms.